Hello, photogenic programmers! The reason we call this app Weather Gift is because it'll make a great gift for loved ones. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to put your weather-related photos into your app and have them show up matching DarkSky weather data. This video is issued as a skills challenge because you already know what to do. Here's a list. So first, get your photos together. Now, I'm sure you've seen in most weather apps that they usually have an icon depicting the current weather, like a sun, a cloud, a rainy cloud, a snowflake. Well, the DarkSky folks know this, and their API data even has an icon key that recommends the name for an icon that developers can use to match their weather. And it's just a generic name. There's no official source of icons with these names. But these recommendations come in the form of a set of keywords, and you can find these words that are returned by the icon key in DarkSky in the DarkSky API documentation under response format, data point, and icon. Now, the data that DarkSky provides will be spelled exactly as you see it here. No spaces, dashes where spaces would normally be, all lowercase. So clear day, clear night, cloud, fog, partly cloudy day, partly cloudy night, rain, snow, sleet, wind, and DarkSky also warns you that in the future they might include things like hail, thunderstorm, tornado. Now, instead of using an actual icon, we're going to use photos that have the same names as the words that you would find in the icon key. And then we'll use the value in icon to sync up to your photos so that we show a photo that's appropriate for the current weather. Now, the key named icon appears in lots of different places in the DarkSky JSON, but the one that we want specifically right now is going to be inside of this key daily. Then from here, we want to go and access icon. It's at the same level of the summary key that we used in the last app. Then once you have the images with the exact names that would be returned via the icon key, then add those images to your assets catalog. And by the way, just like before, we don't have to worry about JPEG, PNG, PDF as an extension, and you can use any of those three types. If the extension is on your image name, and it probably is, you can leave it there, but just make sure the rest of it is spelled exactly as you'll receive in the icon data. And once you got that set up in your weather detail file, add a new icon property to the daily struct that you created in the last video. Also add a new daily icon top level property, just like the ones that you created for time zone, temperature, and summary in the last video. Then retrieve the string associated with the icon from the daily key and save this to daily icon. Then use this value to update the image view on your location detail view controller so that it shows the image with the same name as that icon string. Pause, give it a shot. I have faith you can do it, Swifter. And resume. So here on my desktop, I have 15 images that match up with the names that DarkSky might return via the icon key. Now, I didn't have any photos for tornadoes or thunderstorms, so I just grabbed some images from the SF Symbols app. Then, once you have your images together and you've named them appropriately, open your project. Since we're using CocoaPods, be sure to open it via the XC workspace file. And now you can just drag all of these images into your assets catalog, but since I've already got them in an icons folder, I'm just going to drag this whole icons folder into my assets catalog. And Xcode is so smart that I don't have to do anything special in my code to let it know that it's inside of the folder. Xcode will be able to find all of my images. And now that I got my images in here, you can also see that some of them are JPEGs and others are PNGs, and that also doesn't make a difference. I don't even have to pay attention to the file type in my code. Now, back in the project inside of WeatherDetail.swift, this icon key that we want is at the same level inside of daily, just like the summary value that we're showing here. Now, if we go back and take a look at the JSON in the browser, see how this first level is the key daily, and then within that is our key icon, and then after that is the string that represents the icon? By the way, there are a few keys that are named icon, but this is definitely the one we want for our daily icon. Well, this one here, daily icon, is what we're going to get. Now, I'd mentioned we want to save this information in a top-level property named daily icon, so we'll go ahead and create that under our other properties, and we'll initialize this to an empty string. Again, since this is a class, initializing these variables is a shortcut so that we don't have to write an initializer. So under the summary property, I'll say var daily icon lower camel case equals empty string. And then since icon is within daily, we're going to add a property to this daily struct here, var icon, and this variable name icon needs to be spelled identically, same case and everything, as to what we see in the JSON. So it's icon with all lowercase letters. And since this is a struct, we can just go ahead and define this without initializing it. So colon string, we get the initializers for free with structs. Then let's scroll down into our do loop just after we get our JSON response, and we know we've successfully turned the data into JSON. We'll add this to the end where we set up our other properties, and we'll say self.dailyIcon equals response.daily.icon. So now that we've got the string that represents the icon, which should match up to one of our file names, let's head back over to location detail view controller.swift, and inside of our update user interface, where we're updating the interface inside of the main queue, we'll add this right after where we update summary label and say self.imageview.image, remember we're updating an image view, equals, and remember we update now a UI image, so we'll put in UI image, open parens, and the option that we want is where we pass in a string for the name, so select the one that says named, and then the string that we're passing in is from weatherdetail.dailyIcon. That's it! Build and run, and we've got a nice sunny image here which matches up with the description. Now we can see the whole image in here, but to keep its aspect ratio, the whole image is fit into an object that's taller than it is, and so that's why you see blue lines in the top and the bottom. That's because this image view's content mode property is set to aspect fit. We'll change that in a bit. Let's continue to swipe and see how things look. Possible snow in Gonzaga. There's a snowy image. Down in Atlanta, Georgia Tech's going to be seeing some rain. And it's also rainy in San Francisco and drizzly here in Chestnut Hill. Now let's fix this image so that it takes up all of the space. And it's a little tricky when you work with images because if your image size isn't the same as the box that you're trying to fill in, then some of your image is going to get cut off or you're going to have some extra space like we have here. And what I think I want to do is I want it to fill up my whole space, and if it cuts off portions of my photos, I'm okay with that. And the way we set that up is by changing the image view property to aspect fill. So we'll head into main storyboard. I'm going to click on my image. It looks like I've got to adjust this just a little bit so that it's just as tall as the blue view behind it that it's enclosed in. Then make sure the image is clicked, get into the attributes inspector, and under content mode, you want to pull down and select aspect fill. Now this image looks kind of crummy here because we're cutting off the icon, but we don't really want to show the icon. And now look, when we run, we can see portions of our image are cut off on the end, but we've got a full screen image. And this is really, I think, a much nicer effect for the images that we've got in here. Now there's just one more thing that I want to change here, and I'll wind back the video so that you can see this. I still have my default sun image in my image view on the storyboard. And because of that, since the JSON takes a split second to load the icon information, we see what is now a distorted big sunshine flash on for that split second. So instead, I'm going to get rid of the default image that shows on the storyboard, and there won't be any image lingering as we flip through pages in our app. So we can do this by returning to the storyboard, clicking on the image view, selecting the image property, and then backspacing over Sun Max, which is that big default sunshine icon. Press return, and now there's no image in there. Our image is blank, and when we build and run, we get a much nicer effect without that jarring split-second sun icon. Nice! Hope you're feeling good about your skills, Swifter. Getting that app ready for Mother's Day and Father's Day. Keep at it.